Not everything in Britain in 1900 was jubilee and celebration. Poverty and squalor was the reality for millions of Britons. Shoeless and hungry, for many there was little hope. After a lifetime of toil, the only safety net was the dreaded workhouse. And a difficult war in South Africa against an underrated Boer enemy rocked British confidence to an all-time low. And added to this, potential recruits was found to be unfit for service. National efficiency was called into question. Closer to home, the sabre-rattling of the German Kaiser put national security at the very heart of British political concerns. Social reformers such as Charles Booth and Seaborne Rowntree had given empirical evidence of Britain's inadequacies at dealing with poverty. And here's the hope. The Victorian age had been one of municipal socialism, of city gasworks, of fresh water for the people, and now surely national government would follow. And this was a national government of giants: Winston Spencer Churchill, the Welsh dragon David Lloyd George, and led by the Prime Minister himself, Herbert Asquith. This was a government, these were the men that could change Britain forever. But what really motivated the change? What really inspired these men to change Britain? Historians ever since have been divided.
The most important reason for liberal reforms, I think, was new liberalism. Without the sea change at the heart of liberalism, at the heart of government, these reforms would not have happened in the way that they did. You have got big characters such as Winston Spencer Churchill, David Lloyd George, and even Asquith, the Prime Minister, who have a reform agenda. Had it not been for these people, Gladstonian liberalism based on laissez-faire would have prevailed. And another thing, the key player behind the liberal reforms, David Lloyd George, the Welsh wizard, must have been influenced by the poverty reports of Booth and Rowntree, as he himself was from a poor background. Some counter-arguments to new liberalism. There is the argument that these new liberals did not make up the majority of the cabinet. Most of the cabinet are still rooted in the old laissez-faire Gladstonian liberalism. Also, although the new liberals made up a strong and forceful clique of the cabinet of the liberal governments, they were outnumbered within the party by the old Gladstonian laissez-faire liberals. It can also be argued that had the Conservatives got into power, they too would have introduced some social reforms. Joseph Chamberlain himself was keen on introducing some social welfare reforms. He just planned to pay for it in a different way, through tariff reform instead of taxation. Had the Conservatives won the election, there would have been even stronger opposition within that party than there was in the Liberal Party to the New Liberals. Also, Joseph Chamberlain suffered a debilitating stroke in 1906, so had they been elected, he would not have been able to put through his reforms had he wished. The main reason that I think Liberal reforms introduced is because of the factor of new liberalism. Without this sea change at the heart of the Liberal Party and the heart of government, the reforms could not have happened. The Liberals went from a party of laissez-faire to a party that believed in a safety net, in providing state help. The government should intervene to prevent the problems of poverty. All the other factors can in some way be linked back to this. For example, national security can be linked back to Winston Churchill and his time in South Africa. National efficiency can be linked back to Lloyd George and the time he spent observing the German welfare system in Germany. The threat of the Labour Party was a threat that Liberals took seriously and would have influenced their thinking.